I'm sort of shocked what people are sharing with me on this podcast. We're just 10 episodes in now, and I believe we will keep going because I'm like, every week I'm dumbfounded. I'm like, oh, I could talk to, there's 8 billion plus people in the world. There's 8 billion episodes of this show. And it's amazing what people are saying that they're like, and then we'll get off the air like, oh my God, I haven't told anybody about that before. Was that okay? I'm like, I think it's more than okay. I think that's the point.
Welcome to MasterMined, the behavioral health business podcast. We go beyond the clinical to explore what it really takes to build, grow, and lead a successful behavioral health organization. Each episode features candid, practical conversations with industry leaders, offering strategies to scale your business while staying true to your mission. From branding and marketing to leadership, culture, and compliance, we cover the tools you need to balance care and commerce with confidence. MasterMined is brought to you by Snapshot, a digital agency on a mission to serve with heart, execute with excellence, and build something bigger together. And now, welcome to MasterMined.
Hey everyone, welcome back to MasterMined. I'm Mark Scrivener, CEO of Snapshot, and sitting beside me is my co-host Lee Pepper, a sought-after behavioral health consultant and author of the new marketing book, Never Outmatched. Today we're joined by Lindsay Lawler, a country singer, songwriter, performer, and co-host of Road Gang Radio. She's also the voice behind We Should Write, which is her new Radio Nemo podcast on iHeartRadio. It explores the power of writing for healing, for creativity, and for truth. Lindsay, it's so great to have you on the show today. I'm actually really excited about this episode. Thank you for being here.
You're actually excited. Are you shocked? You're shocked that you're excited?
I'm shocked and excited.
No, I'm so excited to be here. I'm always interviewing other people, so it's a real treat to take a little of that off, a little of that pressure off, and be on the other side here. So thank you.
Well, the pressure was on us. I mean, you saw what Wendy Lee put together because we're like, we have got to be really organized because she's a songwriter and a performer. So we got to do this all the way.
I am not organized. I was like, oh my gosh, these people are on top of their game. I was so impressed. Shout out to Wendy.
Well, yeah. Well, and everybody knows that. I mean, she does. I mean, we've all been on a lot of different podcasts, and I say we do it the best as far as all the prep work.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Thank you, Wendy Lee.
Yes, for sure.
Well, Lindsay, I want to get started a little bit about your personal story. Did you always know, because you grew up in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Did you always know from when you were little that you wanted to be a performer?
For sure. I don't think I knew what it was or understood that it could be an actual job. I mean, like you see the people on TV and you're like, well, that's cool. But I come from a very practical, conservative family. They're wildly supportive, but also, back in the day, I'm old enough to say that now, there weren't all these other ways to make it in entertainment. It was like you either got the record deal. It was few and far between that you really, quote unquote, made it, And so I joke to this day that my definition of success is when my dad stopped asking me what my backup plan was. When it was like, oh, this is what she's doing.
Yeah.
But my family was always very supportive, but also like, that's fun. I was like the party trick, the performer all the time. They would always find me. We'd go on vacation in Florida to Destin or whatever, these crazy spring break places, and then they'd lose me because I'd be over on the beach, find MTV Raps, and I'd be on stage all the time. So I joke. My sister has real issues because there's all these videos of me being like knocking her out of the way and being like, tape me. So always the ham. Wasn't a shock that I became a performer, but it wasn't till this moment when I realized, oh, I can, this isn't just a hobby. There's a lot of ways to take this from a creative angle.
Yeah. Was there a moment where you realized the music wasn't just for entertaining, but it was more for the healing?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. I still have this tape. I have it on my computer, and it's me when I'm in kindergarten. And Sophie moved away to Australia. Sophie was my best friend in my kindergarten class. And I have this tape of me singing, I'm so sad. And I'm talking to her about leaving. And the song, Sophie, please come back. I miss you, and it feels so bad. And roses are red, violets are blue. Of all the friends, I miss you. But you could hear the pain in my voice, truly. I was actually talking about this on my radio show this morning. I vividly remember as a 7-year-old loving to sing songs about divorce. Now, I'm happily married, let me say. But I love Wynonna's Is It Over Yet? And You Were Mine by Dixie Chicks. Like songs about divorce and about pain spoke to me as a little kid. Now that's a little weird.
Wow.
But I guess that's what, if I'm going to look back, that's what I can pinpoint and be like, oh, emotion was going to clearly drive my destiny, whatever that may be. And that's to this day. I can be in the happiest place in the world. And my husband's favorite song I ever wrote is about falling out of love with your partner. It's his favorite song. We need to go to therapy. But no. But it's there. Yeah, it's just about emoting, I think. And that's, to me, whether it's highs or lows, connection and emoting is just the most important thing in the world.
I think, we're fortunate here in Nashville because, we get to, live near great performers like you around our neighborhood, and we see them at the grocery store and go to school with them and church with them. And I remember you had like a record your opening night, like last year.
Yeah.
And I remember Jennifer and I, we attended it, and you're welcome. And I think I bought a couple of records at least.
Thank you.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where when you're there and we're kind of in the background, and I'm seeing all these people who know you. I've always wondered, do you know them? But boy, they know you. And I think it's that strong connection to what you're writing, and they've got something that's kind of therapeutic, right? That your music has somehow touched them in some way. They may not have grown up with you or known you, and that's where I was kind of leaning into. I think it's so smart how you have your own radio show with Jimmy Mack, because there's something about that audience, right, that is connecting with you. And so it's kind of like you have this performer piece, but then you also have this ability to translate that kind of effort, into really touching people.
Yeah. I think it's two things. I think it's equal parts. Again, goes back to connection, and I love connecting with people. I want to really know you. I like people I don't know kind of better than people I do know, because I could like every Uber driver, ultimately within 20 minutes I'll know everything about them, and vice versa.
So you have 5-star rating though from Uber.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Well, it's like 4.9. It was one incident that wasn't my fault. That's fine. That's a story for another day.
That'll be later in the episode.
That'll be later. Yeah. So I think it's equal parts being really aware that, as my coach Jimmy Mack always says, nobody has to be there, nobody has to show up, nobody has to buy the music, nobody has to listen. And if you keep that top of mind and realize we need it, the performer and the audience need each other, it really is a dance. And I think that's always been really top of mind for me. But then also I realized, it's funny, the most recently, particularly this album I put out last year, or the last two records I put out, I think. When I first moved to town, I was in LA before and wrote songs, I say that loosely. I was chasing a pop thing and doing this like heavy rock. It was a weird time in my life. But when I got to Nashville, I was writing songs a little more general, like what's fun. I used to sing at Tootsie's downtown, and so I just watched people come in, and I would just write stories about other people. But I realized recently with this last record, it's like the more, oddly, it seems counterintuitive, but the more specific you get in your writing, the more people that find it, the more mass appeal it gets, which I thought it'd be the other way around. I'm like, if I just say something really general, then a lot of people will be able to relate. And then I realized, no, I need to say specifically, I need to talk about what's happening to me in this moment, what I'm feeling. I mean, I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom of songwriting. Just write what's happening in that moment. So specific. Like, for instance, my brother-in-law passed away a couple years ago, and the first line of the song I wrote about him is, they say a nor'easter's on its way. He was from Cape Cod. They say a nor'easter's on its way. We're watching it roll in. It's getting gray. He's wearing wool socks in the sand with a belt buckle of John Wayne. Like, it's just painting this image of him specifically. And it goes on. It gets real detailed. But I think then people, when you get an image in your head, it's almost like a movie playing out, and then somehow you're able to slot yourself into that movie and make your own feeling from it. So yeah, I think point being, it's all about connection and just saying exactly what you mean to say, not dancing around it, saying exactly what you want to say, because then people will feel what you're feeling, and that's when you connect.
Now, do you remember seeing Mark at Tootsie's?
Yeah, he was the one on the table throwing dollar bills.
Make it rain.
He was that one guy that always wanted to hear Stairway to Heaven one more time.
I bet you, when you went down on spring break, I bet you hit a lot of the karaoke competitions, right?
It's funny you say karaoke. My dad, God love him, will say to this day, when I was young, I'll never forget, we went to Costco or Sam's Club, one of the two, and there was a guy selling karaoke machines in the aisles, and my dad's like, go sing. This is in Dallas, Texas. Go sing. This could be your big break. And I was like, Daddy, I don't want to do it. 10 years old or something. To this day, he'll be like, well, you never know. That could have been your break. I'm like, I don't think they were giving out record deals at the Costco in Dallas 30 years ago, Dad, but maybe. No, I hate karaoke. I hate it.
Yeah.
I love watching other people have fun. But what I hate about it is that I want to get up there. Karaoke is not meant to be serious. Mm-hmm. And when I get up, I want to sing serious. So it takes it away. So I get really, I want to go, but I also want to go with a paper bag over my head so my friends aren't like, you get up and sing. I just want to watch other people look dumb, not me.
Yeah. Well,
Said with all the love in my heart.
Well, following right down the track that you were going down, of really finding a unique position in whatever you're going to do and how that creates a niche. And we talk about it a lot in the marketing, as we talk about Road Gang Radio, which is a very unique platform that you've launched, and you're speaking to long haul truckers.
Yes.
What was the inspiration around that unique niche?
So years ago, my father is an attorney, and he works a lot on the insurance side of transportation. So I knew the trucking world for a long time, and several family and friends in it. And when I first moved to Nashville, I was singing downtown and I kind of used the Nashville Tootsie's audience. I'd find out where they lived and what's your local station, and I would end up sort of touring that way, doing one-offs, going to where people wanted me, not where I was trying to fit in, where I was trying to force myself. It's like, oh, you already like me, go tell your local club. So anyway, I was doing that and doing that at the time, and I had gotten booked to play at a trucking conference back in Dallas. This is probably 17 years ago. And it was called the Great American Truck Show. And I was singing on myself and my guitar player, Chris Roberts, were playing back by the bathroom, singing songs to truckers' kids. It was such a random thing, but there was something really beautiful in it. And I looked around and I saw thousands of people at this convention, and I was like, okay, there's an audience here. And I met the people with the Truckload Carriers Association, TCA. They have a program called Highway Angel that recognizes truck drivers that have saved lives out on the road and performed extraordinary acts on the road. And I approached them and I said, let me write a song for you. And I'll never forget, the president of the association at the time said, that's either going to be horribly cheesy or horribly depressing. And I was like, probably, but let me try. So I did. They loved it. And it sort of became an anthem, so to speak, for truck drivers. And I started meeting more. I got booked at more and more trucking events. And I started seeing the synergy of what a truck driver does is very similar to what a musician does, or anybody who has to travel, who has to be gone for a living. A veteran, certainly that plays in. Anybody that's away from home. And so I started writing songs about these drivers. Now, not songs that were specifically, there's a lot of songs that are so on the nose of of the Mack truck and whatever. Yeah. I was writing more, because I'm not a truck driver, you're welcome, world. I was writing more songs that, again, back to the emotion, the connection. What's it like? I have a song called He Loves the Road, and it's a husband and wife duet. And it's what do you do when you love your family, but you're called to the road? It's again, anyone can relate to that. I want to be home, but I also want to be gone. It's a real push-pull. Mm-hmm. So that's what really had got me into it. And I met the good people with Radio Nemo, Dave Nemo, and who's a legend in trucking radio. He's basically started trucking radio. He's been in radio 55 years, and he brought it over to Sirius, where we used to be on. And I'd be a guest on their show a lot as the Highway Angel spokesperson. And then Jimmy Mack would have me on his show. He's my current co-host. And when Jimmy decided to add a co-host, I think he thought I was a natural fit. It kind of combined. I worked in radio since I was 16. I've been a singer and a trucking spokesperson, so it kind of married all my worlds. And here we are today. And when we left Sirius, we launched our own platform, which is Radio Nemo, for Dave Nemo's namesake. And yeah, we're on. It's finding. The tricky thing is we're available everywhere, which is really cool as we're, you're trying to evolve in trucking and try to evolve your message in an industry where, truckers, they're driving. They can't stop to like get on Facebook and figure out how to listen to different things. So we're still figuring out what's the best way to reach them. And what's been really cool, once people find us, they don't leave. It's just an awareness thing. So I'm here to get your marketing advice from the geniuses here, because it's a really cool show. And we say Road Gang Radio is, it's a 4-hour show. The first 2 hours are how you make a living, and the second 2 hours are how you make a life. So we talk full on trucking, logistics and policy and issues on the first half. In the second half, we talk about things you can listen to. We have musicians, authors, roadside attractions, weird thing. We had a cave diver on this morning talking about, here's where you go cave dive on the side of the road. Don't do that. So it's a neat thing. It's trying to just help drivers get down the road a little quicker and with a little more joy, hopefully, and to feel seen. They spend all their time alone. So
I can imagine, just hearing you talk, I mean, like long haul drivers, I mean, how do they, even if they wanted to get some help, if they had some issues that they wanted to go see, a therapist, like they're traveling so much, like that's got to be super difficult.
It's very hard. And a lot of them, I think a lot of drivers get into trucking because they don't want to talk to people, which I understand, but they do find, they were very active on our show. They'll call in. That's a family. Truckers are the original social media, the CB. That was the deal. It's like, it was such an interesting thing. It's like you're alone in your truck, but yet you're still connected. You hear this voice. And that's what Dave Nemo really did for trucking. He was the voice for them overnight, where they felt they had a family. That's what a lot of the old school DJs did. So I don't know. There's certainly a lot of different organizations that provide a place. St. Christopher Fund comes to mind. A lot of different organizations we work with, and a lot on the veteran side too, which we'll get into because a lot of truck drivers are veterans. But I think there are places, if you reach out, certainly listen to our show. The guys are calling in and they're saying, oh, I'm going to be at this stop tomorrow. Come find me. There is, I think the diner and the truck stop is the therapy lounge, I think, a little bit. And it's just a matter of how much they, lean in and want to use it or not.
Lindsay, it's amazing what you're doing with this platform. Like, I guess, and when they do call in, like, what are some of the common themes that you hear from truckers?
Don't want to know. No, I'm kidding. The common themes, it's certainly, what's interesting now, it didn't used to be the case. Now we're seeing more females in trucking too. And so safety at truck stops, well-lit areas, parking, showers, like just stuff that somebody in a suit behind a desk, like no disrespect, but that would not know if you haven't been out on the road and lived it. So a lot of it is safety. Obviously, health is a big thing. Mental health has become a big thing. And, we never talked about this in the olden days, not as openly as we do now, and now you can't avoid it, rightfully so. And so I think it's really just, I think they want to be heard. At the end of the day, I think truckers just want to be heard. They, for long enough now, have been this invisible spirit behind the wheel of a truck, and they're like, we just want to be heard. Even if you can't fix it for me tomorrow, let me know that you're trying to do something about it. And so I think we try to be a little bit of a middleman. I sort of pride myself on, I go to these conventions, I pride myself on having dinner with the billionaire trucking owner and then going and having a conversation at a truck stop with the driver, with the family of 6, just, trying to get by and being like, how can we bridge this gap? Because it's as simple as we all want to be seen and heard and know that our issues are being accounted for, I think.
What does the truck driving community think of Buc-ee's?
Oh, they hate it.
Do they?
Yeah, because there's not truck parking.
Oh.
There's not truck parking. Yeah, I found out, by the way, it's funny you say that. Like 2 weeks ago, I kind of knew there wasn't truck parking, but again, I'm not a driver. And I said on air, we're coming back from Georgia, I was going to stop at a Buc-ee's. And I kid you not, if I didn't have 5 phone calls right away saying you just said the bad word. So they don't like Buc-ee's, not truck parking. It's not made for them yet. But that being said, they also drive regular cars or trucks. So you can go on other days, but it's
Yeah,
a
because it
no-no.
seems like they have really changed the game with, I know for my family, like that's our number one stop. It used to be Starbucks for clean bathrooms, well lit. Like
You want
that's,
the Buc-ee's bikini, I assume.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. A Bucky and a Bucky. Yeah, they have the best merch.
Yeah, well, I always come out with a shirt or those Buc-ee's snacks, So
Well, I will say just on that, just a quick shout out, because I do a lot of work with Travel Centers of America, which are the TA Petros, and they carry my albums, by the way. You can buy my albums in all those truck stops, and they have a program called Citizen Driver.
Okay.
Which I think is one of the best image programs I've ever seen in trucking. So I'm a judge for the program, and you get, it's maybe, 10 or so different nominees, and we narrow it down to like 2 or 3 winners, which is very difficult. And these are men and women who are drivers who are just exemplary, not only truck drivers, but human beings and safe miles. And a lot of them are veterans and foster children, like you name it. And the winners, they get a truck stop. They can pick any truck stop in the country, and it's named after them.
Wow.
So it becomes the Lee Pepper TA Petro in Atlanta, Georgia, or whatever. And they do a huge naming ceremony, and that's the driver's second home. So to have it be named after, it's really cool. So TA Petro does a really great job. There's a lot of cool image programs. And again, I think it's just an awareness thing. I think in trucking, we do a really good job telling each other in the industry how great trucking is. Mm-hmm. That's not the issue. It's getting the word out to people outside of trucking and really remembering if you bought it, a truck brought it, nothing happens. All that crap that you like in your home, if you want to complain about the driver on the road, you're going to really complain when they're not on the road. So
I feel like TA Petro, I have to do a shout out. I think they have one that has an iron skillet on Watts Road in Knoxville.
You're right.
Yeah, because I grew up in Farragut, so I can give a thumbs up to that one for sure.
Yep. I have sang in that parking lot a few times. Yes.
I think
whether they wanted me to or not.
I think Lindsay's either working for a sponsorship,
I know,
or she is sponsored by TA Trucking.
Well, they did put my records in their truck stops, and so that's pretty cool. I will shout out to them. But if they would like to give me more, no, I'm just kidding.
That's amazing.
They're good people, I can tell
Lindsay,
you.
how is it over the years that you've been able to create this safe space for people to call in with some of their biggest issues, to put it out there and you all talk through it? And I'm sure you've heard a lot of different really deep things.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's because I say the thing. If you listen to our show, I think you get a pretty good idea of who I am, and there's nothing in my mind that would floor me or shock me. And so I think I'm a firm believer. I have a new show called We Should Write. It's about the healing power of writing. I think, and then sharing those things as well. One of my dear friends has a show called Share Your Stuff. It's really like if I say the thing, then you're able to say the thing. And, like I had somebody today talking on the show talking about being bullied really bad as a child. And I feel like the more we talk about that, the less that can happen. So honestly, I think it's just saying the things that maybe, listen, I always call myself the woo girl, the Pollyanna one, where they're probably like, oh, here comes Lindsay again with a therapy session on the radio. But I think they're starting to like it. Like this morning, I saw everyone in the comments, they're like, ready for Road Gang radiotherapy. And I'm like, yes, it's working. I've encouraged drivers to do vision boards and put them in their cabs, because it'll be things that make them happy they can see every day. And initially, they're all like, oh, whatever, Lindsay. Sure enough, within a couple months, I'm getting pictures of people sending their vision boards in their cab. So I'm going to be the one that's the Pollyanna girl. But hey, if it works and makes one person feel seen, I think that's how we change the world. We work on ourselves so that we're better for those around us, and then it's the ripple effect. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, that's a good segue into We Should Write, because when you were first telling me about this, I was already getting some connections with some of the work that goes on in behavioral health, because a lot of our programs, at the Oaks at La Paloma, we created a studio. It's called the Blue Door Studio, and it was where patients could come and work with our music therapist. And it wasn't always about playing music. There was also a big piece of it was writing, because journaling is so important, for a lot of programs in therapy. And so I really just thought that this was really brilliant what you were doing. And I know you're probably looking at it from the angle of how, because Nashville is such a writing town, right? But I really think it has some other positive impacts for people that may not be professional writers yet, but they can maybe start to transition from journaling into maybe producing something.
100%. And it's, the show is not yes, we interview songwriters and authors. And by the way, I say I have conversations with, not interviews. I like that better because it feels more comfortable. Mm-hmm. But I'm not trying to convince anyone to become a professional songwriter. If that happens, if that's a byproduct from you doing it, awesome. But it's again, just encouraging people. It's about the healing power of writing, to write things down, to get it out. And case in point, I like you, just thought, I assumed this show was going to be, I've owned the rights to We Should Write for 17 years, by the way, and never really knew exactly what it was. And now I do. The anchor is this show, and there's a whole community aspect outside of it. But case in point, I thought it'd be songwriters and authors. And then my guest a couple weeks ago, this guy named Jeremy Baker, who is a Army combat veteran. He's been counterintelligence. He's been national security for 20 years, and he's a PTSD survivor. And so because of those things, he's now written a book. He said he's always journaled, but he's now written a book, and it's called The Guilty Sleep. It's very good. And one of his character in the book, Dexter, that's how Jeremy healed his own PTSD, by writing through Dexter and seeing how Dexter kind of worked it out. And it was a way, he says, you can go back and listen to the episode. It's fascinating. He says, I was able to kind of play things out differently. And I think it's the idea of we get outside of our body, whatever it is, we can all find PTSD in something we've gone through. Some obviously way worse than others. It's not just combat. It's anything from bullying and sexual assault, whatever. Everybody has their own story, down to the smallest thing up to the biggest. And it was really interesting for me to say, oh, this could go so many different angles. This is anybody is healing through stuff. If we get it out, it's almost like you get it out of you, write it down, and then it's not you anymore. Mm-hmm. Because I don't believe it is us. It's not even a piece of us. It's just a part of the story. But that's why I believe so wholeheartedly. You write it down. You don't even have to read it. Actually, I encourage you not to read it until way later, maybe 6 months, a year later. And then you start seeing kind of the through line in all your writing. Like, what are recurring, you talked about recurring themes earlier. What are recurring themes that are when I'm happy or when I'm sad or when I'm lowest or when I'm falling into my lowest places or falling off the wagon? When was it happening? And it becomes this kind of log of your life that really will help you heal.
Yeah. I would love to hear a story, maybe if you could share one where somebody's been through something really intense and you've helped them write it down, and like kind of that journey, what you saw at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot. Myself included, by the way. But one thing that comes to mind, somebody else. We went a couple years ago. A company that we work with, Fastport. They're the sponsor of our radio studio in New Orleans, and they work with a program called Transition Trucking. They help veterans coming out of service. They train them to drive trucks. They train them other things too, but as it pertains to us, trucking. And so they took a group of men back to Vietnam recently for the 50-year anniversary of them leaving Vietnam. And these are men who had not talked about things they'd seen, certainly hadn't written about them. And they really encouraged them while they were over there. They had a mental health professional with them, and they did writing exercises. They went back to rewrite their story because they left and saw a broken down, they saw what they had left behind in Vietnam, and you know what that looks like. And then they came back, and we interviewed them when they returned. And I'll never forget in particular this one guy who had not, the whole kind of interview and the whole process, and they said even on the trip he'd been really quiet. And then we're interviewing him, and he started slowly saying more and more, and he had talked about, he had written some stuff down, and you just saw this, I honestly feel like I could see this like spirit lift, his body shifted, and what he had seen was terrible, but he got to go back and see it in a different way. Vietnam's much better now than it was 50 years ago, of course. And the other thing that was really cool, he said, back then he couldn't have called home. There weren't phones to call home. This trip, he was able to call home, talk to his wife, talk to his kids, be like, I'm here, I'm okay, this is what I'm seeing. And yeah, I just think there's something so powerful in maybe rewriting our story is wrong because, the past is what it is and we can't necessarily change that. But we can, I believe wholeheartedly, we can rewire our memories of it because if we see really bad things, I think we make it somehow even worse a lot. And putting pen to paper in it and just sort of naming it and releasing it, I think changes the game, and it changes our whole spirit. And I've seen it single-handedly through that man, through several women I know, sexual assault, myself included. I've seen it, once you start speaking up, and then other people are like, I would have never said anything. Now you said something. Now I can. So I just think it's so powerful and important, especially these days in a very obviously divided, divisive time. Sharing our stories is what brings us together.
Yeah.
One of the things that I know people that listen to this podcast, it's a lot of behavioral health, owners, founders, clinicians. And if somebody has got like a question about, I wonder how we could set up like a writing program within our center. I mean, your podcast, We Should Write. I mean, would they be able to listen to that and kind of pick up some tips about, hey, here's how you start journaling and here's how you start to kind of walk through that process of writing?
For sure. Oh my gosh, I think it'd be a great place to start, because not only because I want you to listen, because I really believe in it, but I'm sort of shocked what people are sharing with me on this podcast. We're just 10 episodes in now, and I believe we will keep going, because I'm like, every week I'm dumbfounded. I'm like, oh, I could talk to. There's 8 billion plus people in the world. There's 8 billion episodes of this show, and it's amazing what people are saying. That they're like, and then we'll get off there like, oh my God, I haven't told anybody about that before. Was that okay? I'm like, I think it's more than okay. I think that's the point. It's the sharing, it's the getting it out. And you literally physically see people go from this, even though I have bad posture, so I think I'm sitting like this all the time. But you see people like shift and be like, oh, okay, that's gone. I'm good now. And I know some people that have gone to like Cumberland Heights here and some different places in Nashville, and really different retreats that even for songwriters who know how to write, that doesn't mean they know how to write their own really deep, dark stuff. So yeah, I think it's a great place to start. I think when you hear somebody, especially if it's somebody it's like, I know that author, I know that songwriter, that we kind of hold these artists or famous people, whatever, we forget that they're literally just another dumb old person like us, And then you hear somebody else share their stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm not that special, and I'm also really special. So I think it's a cool place to start. I think writing. Or reach out to me. I would love to start doing retreats with people and just like get to know somebody in a day, and then be like, okay, let's put your story into song, because you've written a book. It's way more daunting to have to write 400 pages than 3 minutes. They're hard in different ways. But if you can walk away with a song or a passage or a poem or ultimately a book or a journal entry or a bar napkin that you'll never show anybody, whatever, if you can walk away with something that puts your story down, I believe you can walk away from it and find out why. Most importantly, actually, let me say, find out why you had to go through that thing. Why, whatever the thing was, you went through it. It's not all for naught. There's something waiting on the other side if you're willing to dig for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lee, I'm so glad you asked that question, because I was going to ask, like, you've mentioned process a couple times, and is there a process to your writing? Like, is there a platform? Is there steps that people follow?
For $19.95, you can get the plan.
Well, I mean, that was, we were going to promote it here. Hopefully, Lindsay will sponsor our show. No. Is there a process that you take people through? Because you said I'd love to take people on retreats and teach them how to do this. And then the second part to the question is, are there parts of that process where you see like the biggest transformation in people? Is there a point in the process where it's like you get that aha?
It happens quicker than you'd believe. I mean, I think that's the thing with therapy, where a lot of people don't go because they're like, oh, this is, first of all, it's expensive, or God, that's how many years is that going to take? I'm here to tell you that I have seen myself heal through one song or through one conversation with somebody. And I've seen it happen for other people too. Now, I'm not knocking therapy. Therapy is necessary also, for sure. But I say at the beginning of We Should Write, I'm like, writing is cheaper than therapy, and dare I say, more honest. I've been to therapy before and lied. I'm like, what am I doing? It's my money and my time. What am I doing? So I don't believe there's not one process. Everybody writes differently, whether you're a songwriter as a profession or a hobby. So for me, especially working with somebody who's not a writer or a songwriter, it's like, you don't want them to think anything's going on. It's like, let's just hang out for the day. Let's just like hang out and get to know you, your soul, your being. And I think it's different for everybody. But as long as you put that other person at ease, like, no, I'm a safe space. I got no judgment. I'll probably tell you all my crap first so that you know that yours is way less or whatever, we find that common ground with somebody, and then we start working through it. For me as a songwriter, I don't play. I play piano, ish, but I'm a vocalist. I will hear especially now that I live out in the woods near my neighbor here. His address. No. It has changed my songwriting to like just I'll walk outside and have like an entire song dumped in my head, and I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? And then I'll just go sing it to one of my guitar players. I'll like sing the whole song. They'll put guitar around it. And so I think it's really cool to bring I have, friends with some of the most talented people in the world as far as musicians go. So to get in a room or outside, even better, with somebody and be like, just talk. We're going to be tinkering over here on the guitar. You just talk and we'll figure it out. And people talk in song more than they realize. To be like, you just said 5 lines right there. It goes back to my original point. Just say what's happening, say what you're feeling. We'll put it on paper and boom, boom. Let the healing begin.
Wendy Lee, that can only happen because Miles and Cy have now moved out, right? It's now quiet in my neighborhood.
Remember when there was a being quiet in our neighborhood, people that used to live on the corner, their kids were practicing in the garage bands.
Oh, that's right.
And it was echoing through the hall where we live. And I walked outside. My husband gave me the worst look because I was like, do you hear that? Those kids? And he was like, you are a musician for a living. Are you 90 years old all of a sudden? And I had to check myself. I'm like, that's right. Carry on. Make music. Be loud.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, that was the Hummels. That's a great family. And that was so much fun hearing that. But we all kind of had to get adjusted for a second.
Yeah. Well, being from Nashville, I mean, most people that are, there's a lot of people listening to the show that are not from Nashville. And when people come to Nashville, they think, oh, I'm going to go down and I'll see Garth Brooks at his bar on
he just hangs out there every
Avenue
day.
or on Broadway. And actually where you all live is where I've seen the most famous country music people out there.
Yeah.
In God's country.
Well, Rod Stewart was just at
Fox and Lock.
Yeah, Fox and Lock in Leaper's Fork. I was so mad I didn't go that night. Everybody's like,
one of the few nights you weren't there. You're normally just there every night. And the one night.
I wish I had time to go there more often, but
it is a new place.
It is crazy. One of the things that I wanted to ask you, when you're in a writing session, Nashville is just famous for bringing in all these writers and the labels kind of pair them up. When you're working with somebody, is it like attorney-client privilege? Like, is everything like, you can't leave this room?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, be careful what you say. It could end up in a song. That's kind of the joke around here. Be careful what you say. It could be on the radio.
Yeah.
And I said to my Chris Roberts, who I write a lot of songs with, I'll never forget, I said to him a long time ago, I was like, do you go to therapy? And he goes, no, I write songs. And he said it so matter-of-factly and then moved on with his life. And I was like, oh. And then you realize a lot of people put things in song. One of two things I think happen. I know a lot of songwriters who disguise what they're going through in a song. So now it's going to make you listen to songs differently. Be like, what's that? And then also kind of like the author I was saying earlier, you can play out, and say, Joey in this song is going through that, it's like asking for a friend. It's kind of that mentality. But if it works, whatever. But it's also, I think sometimes I've written a lot of songs, just like I said, I used to sing at Tootsie's. I would just watch. I have a song, my favorite song I've ever written probably. It's called Spin the Bottle. And it's not about like kissing in the closet. It's Spin the Bottle. I'll never forget watching this couple come in. I was singing like at 10 on a Tuesday morning, by the way.
Okay.
This is when I first started. So I had the crap gig, right? And I'm in the back room, and people there was this couple that was, I say couple, were there listening to me in the front. And I took a break and I went up and I was like, you guys are the sweetest couple. How long have you been together? And they both got kind of awkward. I was like, oh, they're not. They're on a trip. And I was like, oh, man, okay. And of course, I make up the whole story in my head about what's going on, the affair that's happening.
Yeah.
But it was a weird moment. It was a sad moment for me because I was in a bar seeing this people that were clearly not happy in their own life and so I wrote a song to be like, what is that feeling like? Because I needed to release that. I would have thought about this. Yeah. I still think about him, but that song helped me heal through their crap, which is so strange. I guess that's a strange thing. I'm realizing that now. But
and that's like before the whole Coldplay incident, too.
Yeah. Way before that. What idiots. Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, way before. I'm going to send them that song, as a matter of fact. That's funny.
Well, that's one thing I think about in mental health treatment. I feel like a lot of people who decide to come in, especially for detox and residential, is them understanding that we are a safe place and that you are coming in without judgment. And I feel like I haven't ever written a song or sat in a writing session, but I feel like that when you're working with somebody and writing a song, like you have to approach every idea without judgment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing in a room. There's no such thing as bad ideas, because that it has to be, even if you're saying something basic, you have to feel comfortable to say it out loud. I don't like to write with people that I don't know. Like, I kind of find the people I love the most, and then I write with them because they already know me, and I know that I can just be like, bleh, here's all my bleh. So it's tricky when you're down here on Music Row and you get in these cold rooms with four walls and then have to be like, hi, my name is Lindsay. Nice to meet you. Now let me tell you the hardest thing I've ever, whatever. It's or here's what I want to write about. So you learn to, because a co-write can change everything. Like, I could have a song idea and then I get with you and you say, you're like, okay, what if he did this? And all of a sudden the song's like, boom, we're going a whole nother way. And now I'm freed because I'm not responsible for the whole story. It's a neat thing that happens. And then, by the way, you get in the studio. If you ever get a chance to watch people record in the studio, as long as they're good people, there's plenty of bad in the studio. But to see like kind of the layers come in, because the band adds stuff. A guitar player could play one lick, and that takes the song in a whole different direction.
Yeah, and Yoko, she added a lot and went.
She took it downhill in the other direction. Exactly. You never know. Yeah, so it's a neat process. I think it's a co-creating, whether it be in writing or in life, is a really cool theme to me. I mean, we're co-creating living in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
I just think being mindful of co-creation is a really important thing, I think.
I'm hoping that we're going to have an art therapist or a music therapist come on the podcast.
Yeah.
At some point in the next few months, because I really think that programs that can afford to have an art therapist or a music therapist, like, it really can, allow the patient and their families to really start working through some things that maybe traditional talk therapy doesn't allow. Yeah,
let's be honest, it's sort of disguising it through creativity. We see kids drawing pictures of what's going on at home in art classes, and that's how teachers are knowing something's going on at home. Or in music class, I have a 6-year-old, almost 7-year-old daughter, so I am very aware of everything I say and do affects her, and wanting, and I'm so grateful that she is in a safe environment. But I'm also aware that not every child is. And so my friends that are teachers, bless them with the responsibility they have to be aware of that, whether it be a kid or something. So yes, I believe music therapy for sure, art therapy for sure, any creative outlet where we can, again, sort of disguise it without just having to sit there and be like, here's the thing I don't want to say. It's like, well, let me try to draw it. Let me try to write it. Let me try to do anything I can to sort of detach from it. Because that's the thing. Remember, again, anything that's happened to us, I heard a quote once, and it's one of the best things I've ever heard. There's no good and bad. There's only lessons and experiences. And if you can remember that, I think anytime we're going through something bad or heavy and realize, what is this doing for me? There's a lesson in here. This sucks right now. But if I know I'm going to get to the other side, I'm learning something through it, I'm stronger on the other side, I can make something of this and turn this into something beautiful.
I told my dad that when I wrecked his car when I was 16. Yeah.
And he said, well, good, you buy the next one. Good luck.
Lindsay, we're going to drop all your information in the show notes because this is incredible. And most every program that we work with has a component of it that is journaling, writing. And I'm, fascinated by like you leading a session, and I guess like when you go in or as you're thinking about, hey, I want to do more of this, like how do you think about like balancing it from not being necessarily a therapist or an expert, but you're more of just like, I'm a facilitator here.
Well, I have my 10,000 hours. Was it 10,000 hours to be an expert? I mean, I've certainly done that both in songwriting and performance and connection and being on the road. So I think while I don't have the therapy degree, and I've thought about going and getting it just to tie it. I mean, to make it all make sense because people come to me with stuff. But yeah, I don't by any means pretend to be a medical professional yet. We'll see we'll see where the road takes me. But yeah, I think the balance is creating small enough containers for. I mean, I have one women's group that I work with that I love. It's a global group, and we're going to do actually a retreat in Nashville in May. If you're interested, reach out and ask me. But we're gonna. It's my friend does these retreats for women all over the country. We're going to do one and add my component in it to the songwriting, which they come for. There will be a mental health professional there. There'll be a clean eating chef there, all the kinds of things. And it's really just a time for people to feel connected and seen. But we're going to introduce We Should Write into the mix, that and that in that particular setting, and see how it works for women that and that one for women that just need to feel seen and heard. Again, it comes back. We all want to feel seen and heard, whether you're a truck driver, a veteran, a single mom, a teacher, whatever it is. And I think somebody just being like, hey, tell me your story is life-changing.
What's one thing that somebody who's listening to this or hearing this, like if they wanted to kind of start exploring maybe some of this, I mean, is it just to get a pencil and a pad, or do they need to get a journal or a moleskin journal, or do they need to write a poem? Like, what's the first thing?
D, all the above.
Okay.
I think.
Do you sell Lindsay Lawler branded journals?
Well, we should write journals coming soon. We should write journals coming soon, inspired by you, actually, my marketing guru. I think, well, first of all, at risk of sounding really silly, I think finding a journal that makes you happy. That may sound dumb. What a journal, put a sticker on it, a band you like, whatever, a pen that makes you happy. These are little things, but they really help. I have journals that light me up and make me want to write. I also have journals that I never want to see again. So I think and make it first thing in the morning. And it's called flow writing. You're not sitting down with an intention. You're not trying to write a song. You're not trying to be brilliant. It's literally getting your pen out, getting paper out, journal, whatever you have, and just flowing. If you write your grocery list, if you write, I don't want to do this today, I don't want to do this today, if you write that 1,000 times, you can do it. And the best guide, The Artist's Way, I could recommend all day long, even though I am not a product of finish. I've started it 5 times and not finished it, and I'm in it again, and I'm finishing it this time. Julia Cameron, it's her. It's a brilliant take on exactly what I'm saying. It's getting stuff out. As I heard somebody say before, if you're redecorating a room and there's a couch right here, you can't put anything else there. It's the same thing. If you're trying to get to the core of what's going on with you, or hey, what am I going to do with my life? You can't figure it out if you're clogged with all the daily stuff. So as basic as just flow writing in the morning, and eventually you'll see stuff will start coming out. You'll meet a version of you that didn't know existed. I guarantee, or your money back, even though you're not paying me to be here, but your money back if it doesn't work. I promise you it works. And then I try to get up early before my family does. I sit in the window. I watch you walk by. I write about you. No, I have my cup of coffee and my candle. And it's like just setting a space and finding a ritual that, I keep talking about being seen, a ritual that makes you see yourself. Because at the end of the day, your opinion of yourself is the biggest thing that matters. Because when you love yourself, again, here's Pollyanna. When you love yourself, you walk differently through the world. And I believe it.
Yeah.
See, Mark, as fellow Ironman, see, I'm walking now. I'm not running as much.
Yeah.
I was going to say, going a little slow these days, neighbor.
We're fellow Ironman. So, the thing about Ironman is everybody every Ironman wants you to know they've done an Ironman, right? Lee?
Oh, I'm bad about it. I'm bad about it. Yeah, I wear all the gear.
It's like the the funny thing about Fight Club. Nobody talks about Fight Club.
yeah.
The funny thing about Ironman is you want to tell everybody
about it.
you've done an Ironman.
Yeah, it's on all my cars.
I will be the first to tell you I will never sit here and say I have done an Ironman. I can say with full confidence.
What do they say that there's a quote? It's like 17 hours of pain, lifetime of bragging.
Oh, yeah.
I did it the once. Check. Back in my day, when I did that one time.
Now we're getting off songwriting. Get in a market.
That's right.
Lindsay, like these, it's fascinating, these platforms that you have. Like, how is like Road Gang Radio and We Should Write, how do they like feed each other?
Well, it's a good question because initially people would have told you that doesn't even make sense. And it was really for me having this now that we have this our own platform over it. It's Radio Nemo. So we have 3 flagship shows, which are Nemo Nation, which is Dave Nemo every Monday, where it's a fast-paced show, ton of guests, 15 guests a show in that 4 hours, banging them out. Something like that. And it's a lot of return guests.
See what we got to shoot for?
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
We're doing 1 or 2 a day, and we're like 15.
15 might be high, but it'd probably be multiple guests per hour, quick hits, journalists, what's going on. And so that's on Mondays. And then Tuesday through Friday is Road Gang Radio, which Jimmy Mack and I are on, how we make a living, how we make a life. And then so We Should Write, when we decided, when I pitched it, I was like, okay, if we're going to move over and start our own platform, this is something I've held on to for a really long time. I'd love to bring it here, and Radio Nemo let me launch it with them. Let me. They say don't say that. It was a labor of love, and I think I genuinely believe that it's. I see truckers, like I told you, I see them messaging while I'm talking to songwriters, like I'm here for the therapy, and even if they're joking. They're listening, And so I think they do all go together. I want to be that. I call myself long hauler Lawler, like the old Delilah, Delilah, whatever. The voice on the road. I think we're just trying to create. We have 24 hours a day we could fill on this platform now of content, and we're slowly growing to that. We have another show called Trucking with OIDA, which is one of the associations that speaks to the drivers. And so I think it's just, it could be anything. It's remembering that truck drivers are also humans. They like other things than trucks and driving a truck and being on the road. I have so many drivers that'll come up to me and be like, thank you for talking about something other than trucks. Like, I've got 14 hours a day on the road. I need to hear about everything. So I think the long story long is that it's a space where anything can be. Like we have a crime podcast that I would love to launch eventually about 2 specific crimes that I know. Oh. And I'm like, we'll just see what can happen. I mean, I encourage drivers to be like, what do you want to hear about? People will send the guests they want to hear. So it's like pretty cool that they have their own network that is just, what do you want to hear? We'll talk about it. Who do you want to talk to? We'll have them on. So it's a neat thing. And it does go together. We Should Write. Usually I always try to circle it back because here's the other thing. Musicians can't tour without truck drivers. So it's and people are understanding that. Books, authors, your books got delivered on a truck from somewhere, And so I think it's about other people recognizing that nothing we do happens without truck drivers. So we might as well entertain them for the love of God while they're on the road.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Lindsay, you've got such a great heart. And what great causes that you're doing. Is this been therapy for you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, probably because no one in my family listens to me. Just kidding.
Oh, so we can talk about your mom and dad and your grandparents and.
No, my mom says it when I was little. She'd be cooking in the kitchen. She's like, Lindsay, you just talked all the time. She said I'd be cooking and I'd like tune you out, and I'd come up and I'd grab her face and I'd say, are you even listening to me? So my husband, Seamus, who says that now if I'm just talking at him, which is most of the time, and I'm like, are you listening? He'll turn and go, are you even listening to me? So yeah, having a place where I can talk freely and get my stuff out. It's definitely therapeutic for me because realizing that people will tell me things and will listen to my things too. It's like, oh, okay. I'm not just, I didn't take up space for a long time. My family might tell you differently, but I could have been taking up more space. But I was always conscious, like, oh, I'm a little different. I'm a little loud. I'm a little out there. I've got maybe too much to say. And so there was a period of time where I dimmed that. And I think now being able to, may I have the floor, speak freely, has been really helpful to me to be like, I'm going to misstep. And I've misstepped and said very inappropriate things at the wrong time, many times for sure, but quickly to circle back and be like, oh, I messed up. Let's circle back. So just having an open forum that's free where I feel like I can be myself, and Road Gang Radio, We Should Write, is allowing me to be whoever I am. Therefore, the people that are supposed to find it will, and hopefully be whoever they need to be.
Yeah. Wow. Well, as we start to close up, is there anything that that maybe we didn't ask you or that might be helpful for the audience?
Well, I think, certainly without talking about anything happening in our world or country right now, I think conversations like this are really important to just, I think the most profound things are the most basic things. I think by saying, hey, look to your left, look to your right, just ask that person how they're doing, see them. I think that very basic step in life is the most profound thing we can do. And I've seen that most importantly. I question a lot, how am I still hanging around in the trucking world? Like, someone like me doesn't really make sense for that. But I firmly believe that it's for me by divine design that I was meant to be in this audience that, first of all, they're in the truck and I have the mic, so they have to listen to me. But no, just kidding. I've just seen, it's helped me see humanity. I did that for 4 or 5 years, did a thing called the Truck Stop Tour. And man, the things I did free concert for truck drivers at truck stops across the country. The things we saw, some good, some terrible, the things I heard, the things people would, hi, my name is Tom, and bleh, tell me, I was like, whoa. It was so shocking. And so, but I was able in that moment to be like, oh, I see you. Thank you for sharing. And whether it be trucking or any trucking veterans, any industry that's not you, any different belief that's not you, I think if you realize there is a part of you in that person, the person that I don't agree with, no, I agree with you. But if there's somebody that I think I don't see eye to eye, I try really hard in that moment to be like, there's a piece of me in this person, and now I got to find it. I have to find it in order to connect, because I can't walk. I'm not saying we have to be besties, but it is my utmost responsibility in this world, it's all of ours, to at least see the human in everybody, I believe. So remember that when a trucker on the road or somebody at the grocery store, someone who cuts you off, that person's going through something that day, and just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Lindsay, you're a special person. You're doing great work, and we're so thankful that you were able to come on the show today. I've got a lot out of this, but most importantly, just your character and what you're doing, and I hope you continue down this path and continue to do the great work you're doing. So thanks for everything you're doing in this space and helping people. It's very important. So really,
likewise, you guys, hey, changing the world one conversation at a time. I believe that. So likewise, thank you.
That wraps up this episode of MasterMined. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, MasterMined is not just a podcast, it's a community. So don't forget to comment, subscribe, and review us. Your feedback helps us continue to bring you content that's relevant and relatable. Thanks again to our sponsor, Snapshot, a digital media marketing agency. And thank you for joining us on MasterMined, your behavioral health playbook.